You're listening to 5 Live. We were talking a little bit earlier on about the row within the Labour Party over anti-Semitism, and this row that had erupted over the weekend with many Jeremy Corbyn supporters angry at Tom Watson, the Deputy Labour leader, saying that he should stand down because he had been saying that essentially the Labour Party needs to tackle this problem of anti-Semitism for good, or it's going to become irrelevant. Let's speak to Klaus, who got in touch with us from Stamford Hill in London. Morning, Klaus.
Good morning.
Afternoon, actually. Gosh, it's 12:10 afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's flown by. Now, Klaus, you got in touch with us to talk about this. What's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I ought to say that although I don't think it's entirely, necessary to do so, but I will say that my family were completely decimated by the Nazi Holocaust. On my father's side, only my father, his mother, and one cousin survived. So I have experience, personal experience of anti-Semitism in its extremis. But and I'm a Labour Party member, but I'm so upset by this real attack on the Labour Party and on Jeremy Corbyn personally by Tom Watson, because Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party have resisted adopting the IHRA definition of the Israeli definition of anti-Semitism.
That's the internationally recognised
Holocaust, the internationally recognised definition of anti-Semitism. And they've resisted it because there is one or two clauses there which should be resisted. And I'm part of a very, 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 very large Jewish, if you like, minority. I don't know whether I'm a minority or majority, but a large demographic of people who feel that it should be resisted. Jews who feel that there are a couple of things in it which have to be called out. So
tell me the two things that you're not happy about in it.
Well, the thing that I'm most upset about is that you cannot draw comparisons with Israeli policy and policies of Nazi Germany, which seems just extraordinary. I mean, that's an attack on freedom of speech, and it's an attack on our ability to name racism where we see it and call it to account in the strongest terms possible.
And yet the Labour Party is saying that anti-Semitism is racism, it's unacceptable in our party and in wider society.
Quite right.
And they insist that while the examples of the IHRA, this internationally determined definition, is not reproduced word for word, they are covered in the new code. So while it's not there word for word, the Labour Party is saying essentially it's signed up to it. So you wouldn't be happy with that?
Enormous. I would be happy with that, but I mean, it's getting enormous heat from the media generally, from the right-wing media particularly, but from now within its own party, Margaret Hodge, Tom Watson, this is completely unacceptable. Their attacks are going to destroy the only credible alternative we have right now to what is the most hapless and useless government in not just living memory, and full stop, completely ineffective. And so we have to identify what it is that's under attack here. What's under attack is the ability for us to stand up and identify certain policies of Israeli government, of the Burmese government, of the American government, of any government, and identify their racist policies and call them to account. And if we are unable to do that because we are told that that is anti-Semitic, and therefore our voices are anti-Semitic, and therefore we have invalid opinions, then we can't tackle racism in all its forms. And Hodge and Watson, they need to look at themselves very long and hard and think about the rational argument here.
Klaus, thank you ever so much for getting in touch with us.
Can I just quote one?
Yeah, briefly.
Very quickly? I'd just like to quote the words of a poem by my father, who was a poet who, as I said, he lost all his family. He was a refugee from Vienna. And he talks about exactly this. He says, "When we were the persecuted, I was one of you. How can I remain one when you become the persecutors? Your longing was to become like other nations who murdered you. Now you have become like them. You have outlived those who were cruel to you. Does their cruelty live on in you now?" Now, for reading that and adhering to that, he and I could potentially be kicked out of the Labour Party for just reading those simple, logical, very important words. And we have to look at what we're doing. We have to look at what we're doing on the left, and we have to make sure that we stop this crazed bloodletting.
Klaus, thank you so much for getting in touch with us. I'm ever so grateful to you. If you want to come on the radio and speak to me like Klaus did, pick up the phone, give me a call. It's 08085 909 693. You can also text me on 85058. A couple of other thoughts coming in on the anti-Semitism round within the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn is the only politician people like. He had to be stopped. Anti-Semitism happens to be the chosen method. Another one coming in here saying Corbyn is just a puppet in the Labour Party, so can never be a world leader as he has to bow to momentum and their mob. Keep those coming. We're on social media. We are at BBC 5 Live.